Hey,
Hey,
hello, hello, hello.
hello everyone.
Happy Thursday. Happy Think About It Thursday. So, this will be a very kind of fun talk because there's no prep today. It's a conversation, just what comes to our mind, what thoughts come about putting respect on the journey. So I am Ty Shaw, your business strategist, productivity coach. I help small business owners who are overwhelmed from juggling multiple tasks get organized so that they can scale their business with ease. Scaling your business, more money, more efficiency, efficient processes, and more time to do whatever it is that you please. And I have with me.
Gail Sanders. I'm Gail Sanders, your real estate ace, your winning strategy to buying, selling, or investing in real estate. And I look forward to helping you create wealth and leave a legacy for your family to um, ha- uh, through real estate. I'm sorry.
That's fine. It's easy to get tongue tied a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna try to.
Y'all, so y'all have to excuse me today, but we gonna think about it Thursday.
Yes, we are gonna think about it Thursday. All right, so our title is "Put Some Respect on My Journey." Um, so let's talk about putting respect on someone's journey. Put some respect, like Birdman, but I just want to be a little bit correct and put
Respect with a K. Respect.
on my journey. All right, so what's a journey?
Ooh, what's a journey? What's a journey in life? From getting one place to another, and in that journey, there's things that are going to happen. Whether it's a life lesson, a pain that you experience, people you like, people you don't like. It's all kinds of things. That journey consists of all kinds of things.
Yeah, I look of journey as every time I see the word journey, I think of traveling. So
Mhm.
you just said life, personal, a whole bunch of other things. It's just traveling through the different seasons, the different personal experiences, the different, just everything that has to do with your life and how you're going about it or going through it. That is when I first thing when I see journey is the process. That's
Mhm.
what comes to mind for me.
Getting from one place to another.
Yeah, definitely.
Whether you're in a car, or you can look at your life in a car as a car, actually. That's a good analogy.
That's good.
You know, when you're shifting gears, are you in drive? Are you in reverse? Are you in neutral? Those are great ways to look at your life. Um, what gear shift are you in your journey of life?
Right. So why we thought of this topic is that each of us, I know there could be some men watching, but the Gold Sisters Network is a community of diverse women who are empowered to empower women to execute on their level. So we speak specifically to the ladies, but if there's guys watching, you can chime in too in the comments. But when I first thought of putting respect on your journey, is that as women, sometimes we can be very petty or very judgmental of each other, of expecting one to be at a specific area or a specific place. Even in the workforce, we can do it with other people, but the controlling piece or part of us, over analytical part of us, thinks that things should be done a certain or specific way. So the title just made me think of we all got somewhere. We all got to the place that we are now because of our experiences, our lack of experiences, either generational guidance. There's been a journey or a path that we went through to get where we're at. And sometimes we need to respect our own journey and require others to respect our journey as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Totally agree with that.
Yeah. So some ways that I look at as far as respecting another person's journey is the differences that you have. I mean, there's plenty of differences that even Gail and I have when we have a conversation, different viewpoints. We're almost a clone of each other. It's kind of creepy. Our mind kind of works very similar, but we do have differences on specific topics that we challenge each other just to think beyond what we've currently experienced, to kind of have a broader perspective, I would say.
Absolutely.
So even being in the journey in the petty parts, right? Like things that you ha and he about, you know, sometimes being that petty person will expose the insecurities in your journey, and you can't seem to understand the journey of someone else, or why they behave a certain way, or why they do a certain thing. So I don't know. You got something to chime in on that?
I I think it's important that we realize that two people can be, or not just two people, but a group of people can have the same idea or be on a similar journey, but it's a different way of getting there. You might get there one way, I might get there another way. So it's important to evaluate that when you're having people around you. I think the other thing is when we have people and we have differences and they clash, everybody, the lesson in that is that everybody can't go where you're going.
That's true.
Everybody can't go where you're going. So you have to recognize who is at least on somewhat similar path of going up versus taking you down. Because I heard Bishop Dale Bronner say, people are like elevators. Either they're going to take you up or they're going to take you down.
Right.
So we have to recognize that in our journey, because everybody's not going to go with us. They can't. So we have to respect that, and it's okay. Know that it's okay.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. When you're saying the elevator and the journey, is that for example, you know, to get where I've gotten this far in life, it's been a journey. I mean, we all have one. But how I got to where I'm at may be different from another person's journey. But you're just seeing now the end result of that. Like I had a conversation with a person that's been connected with me since I moved to Georgia, and saw how frustrated I could be about a certain situation. I've asked them to pray with me in specific situations. So now her joining the lives and seeing Let's Pray Sis on Sundays and just getting on here and talking, she just reminds me of where I came from and where I am at now, and just saying it's nobody but God. Right, of how you're not short-tempered, you know, that person can't trigger you, or those things no longer trigger you. Mm-hmm. So her being a part of that journey and causing me to remember it makes me respect my journey even more. Of, dang, you don't even remember when you used to wow out.
Right? You came a long way, right?
You came a long way, right? Because not so wild out negative, but once I'm disrespected, there's a whole different Taj that comes out, right? In the past, anyway, there's a whole different, okay, this is nice, this is this is that. Because people will challenge your challenge of where you're going. Mm-hmm. Like, so taking that calm and humble approach, it lasts for a little bit, and then there's a line. Mm-hmm. So having a person that's been connected to me to be able to remind me of where I've came from, of, geez, you praying out loud, you didn't even know how to pray for yourself. Or, you know, you've always been an inspirational person, but now you're taking it and putting it online for other people to see it. And just different things make you like, oh, wow, really? Some things you never see yourself in. So some ways that I respect my own journey is really creating boundaries, right? Along the way, you learn things, and you have to create these boundaries for people. And they don't have to understand it, but they can respect it because you are the one that allowed them to have access to you.
Absolutely.
So you may not change how you interact with me, but I'm going to change how I interact with you. So if it no longer works for me, you lose your access. And once you lose your access, it's going to cause a change reaction with you, right? So
that part, yes.
Those are the things that I've learned as far as going along this lifelong journey, and starting to respect others in the business sense of just how they do things. Right. I don't know why a woman may be short-tempered, but I know I could probably speak life to and encouragement with her and let her know that how she's speaking to me is offending me. Right. And that may be something along her life or journey no one ever had told her that in a loving, respectful way. So that can cause her to be like, oh, so maybe taking more self-reflection. At least that's what I've done more on my journey. What about you?
I think I definitely agree with that. There's been some. I have had some growth in learning those boundaries. Like, I didn't have boundaries, and now I thrive on them. Like I create them. So that is so important. But there are things like I think that we get so caught up in other people's um, highlight reel, if you will, and we don't know what they've been through to get there. So then the pettiness in us rises up, and we, like you said to your point earlier, the insecurity in us is revealed.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, that used to be me.
Yeah. That's so true. That's
That
so
used to be me, and now I'm on the other
I
end
mean,
of
that's so true that that used to be you. I mean, what you're saying is
I know what you mean, but I mean, that used to be me. I used to put people on pedestals, and I think we have to learn to get away from that. Like,
yeah.
stop putting these people on pedestals.
Yeah, one thing that I started saying to myself was be inspired but not obsessed. I
Hmm.
can be inspired by the things that you do. You know, it can give me inspiration, but I shouldn't be going to you for it to feed to get. I shouldn't be obsessed with it. That I
Yeah.
model my life after it. That everything that you do, because you're still a person, right? You
Mhm.
still have flaws, and I think sometimes where we go about life is that we get inspired by people, we become obsessed with them, not knowing that we're obsessed, and we model our life after them. And the moment that they show that they're human,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
It's like
Mhm.
crumble.
Yeah. But you have to also, in that, evaluate where did that come from. And I know for me, in my journey, in my growing up as a child, I didn't have an example.
Uh-huh.
So I thought I was looking for an example in someone. And just to your point, I looked a little too far and got obsessed. And that's not what I wanted. That wasn't what I was trying to do. I just fell
Yeah.
in that way because I didn't have that example to look at. And then that caused them, like you said, when they show them human selves, I get caught up. We don't
Yeah.
want to deal with them no more, or whatever the case may be. So,
So I think if I could put some respect on my journey in one word, I would say that's confidence.
ooh.
What about
Mm,
you? If you could put some respect on my journey, what does that mean? What would you say that one word would be for you?
mm, mm.
This is real true girl talk. If anybody that's listening, that we're just freestyling, having a conversation.
One word. Um, I would say growth.
Mm, that's good.
I
That's
would say growth. I've come a long way. I've learned to respond versus immediately reacting because that used to be me. Like
good.
I'm gonna be we are transparent in this room in this live. I would cut you off. I would cuss you out. Cross me the wrong way if you want to, and I didn't care and didn't have any conviction about it. Now I know how to respond.
Look,
On top of the fact that I have some backup now. Like I didn't have any backup before.
that part.
Heavenly Father, if I can't get you the way I want to get you, you better watch out whose child you messing with because you're messing with the wrong one.
That part. Is anybody that's watching, I keep looking down, looking at the comments because I have to fix kind of this tool that I'm using so that I can see them. Anybody in the comments, when you think of put some respect on my journey, if you could give it one word, what would you put? What would you say that meant to you, or that word would be for you? I'm gonna keep glancing down to see if anybody types anything. But I think that that's confidence, because if you are confident and you respect where you've been and where you're going, then the way that you handle people will also definitely show that.
Yeah.
So if you handle people out of love, that means somewhere along that journey you learned how to love,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion. If you learn to put self first, self-love, then your priorities will look a little different when it comes to you. You won't overdo it, right? You won't take, like we just talked about this at work today, was pretty funny, and it kind of relates to this, is meetings. Company wide, we will accept 2-3 meetings at the same time. Like, oh, they probably gonna cancel that. They may not cancel that. I've been on a call on my cell phone and a Zoom meeting on my computer because I need to be two places at once. It's just the behavior, the culture we created, right? And I stopped, right? I stopped that to say, I'm prioritizing my sanity. I can't be on this call. If I'm needed, please reschedule when I'm available. And so we were having a meeting about that, and we're talking, and we're like, man, and the others were like, man, I do that all the time. And they were just talking. I was like, how did that become a culture, a norm here at the company that, hey, if you're double booked, triple booked, as long as we say, I'm sorry I couldn't make it to your meeting because I was double booked, but I'm here now. We're making those things okay. And I kind of connect that to your journey. If you really prioritize what's important, right, then you'll be able to say, you'll be able to make better decisions, I think. So.
Right. That is, you have to create it. It goes back to boundaries.
Yeah.
Even in your workplace, it goes to boundaries.
Yeah, I agree. Is there anything else that we could talk about? Maybe give us a little bit about your journey of how you gotten where you are currently at. Maybe not from a professional standpoint, but just mentally, the things that you may have had to grow from. Any piece, any part.
Oh, wow. I've been through a lot in my journey. I would say that a whole lot. Like I shared before, I love my parents. I honor my parents. But mentally and spiritually, and in some cases, even physically, my parents weren't there for me. Right. And so that journey for me was having to grow up fast and learn how to do things on my own fast without an example. And so that in itself, when I got a little bit older, I didn't have those boundaries and I created all these idols, so to speak, and people I thought I was looking up to them. They weren't the kind of people I needed to be looking up to, but my saving grace was the Lord Jesus Christ. When I accepted him when I was a young adult, but I wasn't walking in what he wanted me to walk in at that time. And so he was my saving grace. That was my journey. Like I began to really build my relationship with God, and that love that I was looking for from my father and my mother, I found it in him. And that created a space for me to be a safe space for me to, okay, God loves me. I can do this. Whatever I've been through, it was for a reason. It grew me somewhere. I've had things to me happen. I've had things happen to me, other things that have happened to me personally that were traumatic. And how I got over that was being able to help and talk about to others who had that same experience, to be able to give them some love, some empowerment, some encouragement. That helped me grow, right? And then as far as my business is concerned, like I shared on Tuesday, I worked in the medical field. I loved it at the time. I love people. I love caring for people. That's just my nature. And love my patients. I just remember so many patients. I remember some patients just praying for them. Like we would go into a room where I would have to teach them how to give injections for themselves, and or they were getting ready to start some kind of new regimen, and I had to be the nurse that would explain those things to them, and they were uncomfortable about it. But I was able to bring some comfort to them because they allowed me the opportunity to close the door and pray for them. So that I came a long way from cussing you out, cutting you off, like didn't care, to where I am now and the growth that has taken place. So that's a little bit about just a little bit. And it really is a little bit. And I'm still growing. You are never going to stop growing. The minute you stop growing, you're dead. You're a dead man walking. That's how I see it. So I'm always looking for new ways to grow. And God is still showing me new ways to grow. And I had to go through a whole mindset change. And I'm still going through it. Like, I think we have to go through mindset changes, not just daily, but like monthly. Like, we always have to go through a mindset change every season, there's a season for everything. And even situations, there's a mindset change that needs to take place. And that's a part of the journey too.
Mm-hmm.
A big piece.
I agree. Thank you for sharing that. It was good. I think what's very important when we talk about journeys or respecting one another's journey is to realize that there's no journey that's alike, right? What God has for you is for you. So what you may have experienced will change who you are, or will create what you are. You're a product of what you've been through and what you've overcome. Mm-hmm. Maybe not of your environment. I know I don't believe you're a product of your environment, but you are a product of your experiences, because they help shape and mold, in my opinion, for me, who I am along my journey and what matters most to me. And that comes from some of family traditions that I've encountered, that I had, that I want to carry out and make sure that I keep going. But it also is very important to recognize that what you're doing, just because you're doing something in your journey, doesn't mean that another person has to understand that. That's big for me. Like when I cut people off, or when I change things, or when I'm growing and you may not understand the decisions that I'm making, it's not for you to understand, because it's my journey, right? But just respect that I'm going to do what's best for me. If you see it's going downhill, then yes, pull me up, sis. Like, hey, sis, you look a little, you're getting a little sad all the time. You're getting doing it, whatever it is, pull me up and help me. But I think the most important thing is that you can be a part of somebody's journey and not know their business.
Yes.
You can be their support system. That's what's very important with the Goal Sisters Network, because I was connected with so many diverse women getting together and trying to create this community of like-minded women. But support doesn't mean that you have to know. I'm learning that because I'm a fixer in my family, meaning when the issues happen, let's go to Taj and get her feedback or opinion. And sometimes that's very judgy. not on purpose, but it's just like very judgy. So now I'm starting to listen more and ask, is this a coachable moment, or is this a venting moment? Because of who I am, I feel like everything that comes to me I have to fix. But that's because along my journey, that's what I've been used to. And I realize that's not who I'm called to be. Just because I bring understanding or clarity doesn't mean that every conversation requires my mouth on it. And I would have never known that had I not went through this journey of falling out with people, right? My family calls me ruthless, being ruthless or whatever thing, or always right or controlling. But I'm like, you're coming to me asking me, what do you want me to give? And I had to check myself and realize, like, you need to ask them, are they really asking you for your opinion, or do they just need to vent within a safe space? So they're coming to you because you're a safe space, and your mouth does not always require it. Hard, but had I not went through things, I wouldn't have known.
Wow, that's good. That's good. When you were talking earlier, what came to mind for me was something I said previously. When you're telling your story, how are you telling your story? Are you telling it to, get some sorrowful, some want somebody to feel sorry for you, or are you telling your story to encourage someone? So I think we have to take that into consideration as well. And again, that's something that I had. A mind shift that I had to, come to, because instead of me telling my story and somebody feeling sorry for me, that's not what I wanted. I needed some way to be able to help myself through this, and helping others helped me grow me through that.
That's good, because in telling my story, it's kind of like having a conversation of filtering it. So I'm transparent to the T. That's why my circle is very small, because my transparency is very, very close knit. You're going to give it all, and I probably ain't leaving out a detail, good and bad, right? So my circle is like that. But what I'm learning is that me being transparent is not a bad thing, as long as the story is, like, to your point, is going to help somebody else get through. Right. So like you're saying, I don't need to tell you all of this story for you to turn around and dislike this person or like this person or whatever it is. The point of me sharing the story with you in that moment in time is for you to get what? What's the intent? So I've actually had this idea of actually writing my story, like writing the story for myself. What is your story, Todd? What is your journey? Look at your journey, what I'm planning to do is that when I have moments when I'm not feeling that great, when I feel like I should be further along in life, I could go back and be like, dang, since you did this, and this, and in that time frame, all these other things happen too. Channel whatever you went through to overcome that. Use that same energy to overcome this. Yeah, the scenario may be different, but the person's still the same. So that's what's important to me about the journey.
There's a song that says, encourage yourself, right?
Right.
That's a form of encouraging yourself, because for some women don't have people around them to be able to encourage them, right? So you write your story down and write what has happened to you, good, bad, and the indifferent, right? I hate to say ugly, good, bad, and indifferent, and go back to those good times and read over them like, oh, that's good. That was growth right there. Oh, well, I didn't cuss this person out on that day. I would have done X, Y, and Z. These are things that can lift you up, right?
Yes.
They lift you up. And even from a scriptural, I know this is not Bible study, but even from a shut up, Taj. I already know what you're going to say. I know it's not Bible study, but from a scriptural standpoint, even David, when he was, working on some things and he had to remind himself, okay, I done killed the lion. I done killed the bear. I done did this. Surely I'm going to kill this giant. You're going to die this day. And we need to have that same attitude.
Yeah. I think we need to also be more supportive as women. Like we said, we don't have people, but we're connected to at least 3 or 4 women. If you don't have sisters, you have cousins, you have aunts, mothers. We have to be more forgiving of others' journeys. Like, yeah, you probably did me real bogus. You probably owe me money still. Like, I'm tired of you. I'm tired of you making the same mistakes. So I've cut you off, or I've created this boundary. But when, as women, do we forgive other people for learning and figuring out who they're becoming?
Ooh, that is so good. That's good right there. That's good.
So this year I've had a mindset shift of a mistake is a mistake. Right? You keep creating that same pattern. Don't you come back to me talking about it. I want to hear.
Great.
Like you making it 10 times. Look, sis, I love you, but you did this 10 times ago.
Great.
So can you go back to decide why it keeps happening? Maybe you need to make a different decision.
Grace. Give them some grace and give yourself some grace, Jesus.
Come on now. Grace. Along my journey, I had to realize that I'm an indecisive person. I have to make decisions. If I want my life to change, I want things to change, I want my finances to change, I want relationships, I need to make decisions. Like, no, I can't do that for you. Or yes, that I can, and be comfortable with creating the right boundary.
Absolutely. Be okay. It's okay. Look, there's the two most powerful sentences in the English language are what? Yes.
Yes. Period.
And no.
Period.
Yes.
Period.
And no.
Period.
You have the power to say yes, period, or no, period.
These dots are my period.
Use your power.
All right, so we've been chatting now for almost 30 minutes, so we can go ahead and wrap it up. Wrap it up. Thank anyone that tuned in. If you're tuning in live or on the replay, we definitely appreciate you tuning in and listening to us as we have some girl talk on this Think About It Thursday, putting some respect on my journey. We want to encourage you, and I especially want to encourage you to acknowledge where you've been, where you're going, and where you are. Right? Because if you don't acknowledge where you are in your journey, it's going to be very hard to move forward. If you don't look at where you've been, you may forget and have to try to recreate the wheel when you've overcame those things. You just need to use those same strategies for the current and for where you're moving forward. So respect your journey, most of all. Give yourself some grace.
Yes.
And keep pushing forward. Find a community that is supportive. positive, supportive. And then let's give our sisters some grace. Let's forgive. Let's love. Let's understand. Let's create the boundaries that are necessary, but also forgive people on where they're going. Thank you, Ruth Ann, for tuning in. And Keandra, great combo, ladies, is what Ruth Ann said. And Sharice for the hearts, and Tisha. And if I missed any names, I'm sorry. But thank you guys for tuning in. We definitely appreciate you.
I have one more thing. So your assignment for this week, until next think about it Thursday, and I would love for you to share in the comments. If you feel like you don't have anybody that you can connect with, remember, as Taj said, you have at least 2 or 3 people that you know that you can connect with. You can either connect with us or find at least 2 people by next week, this time next week, that you can connect with and be accountable with. Remember, we're all on a journey or a similar journey. Find that person for you that fits that close-knit circle for you to help encourage you. So that's my little 2 cents for the night.
All right. Good night, everyone. Oh, sorry. Just a reminder. Sunday is Let's Pray Sis on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We jump on for 15 minutes. We say a devotional, a quick prayer to get us jump started for the week. On Talk About It, Go Talk Tuesday, we'll be interviewing a businesswoman, a professional woman, and she'll talk about her goals of how she got to where she is. And then another Think About It. Thursday will come next week where we're going to talk about generational curses and traditions. And we'll have another guest on with us. So you guys have an awesome and great night. Love you. Be blessed.
Love you, ladies. Enjoy the rest of your week. See you on Sunday.